Breaking news coming in on the broadcast. The country's top law officer has backed the army's action in using an alleged stone pelter as a human shield in Budgam on the 9th of April. Mukul Rohatgi is India's Attorney General, and he told India Today's Anusha Soni, extraordinary situations demand extraordinary response. The army committed no illegality in tying a stone pelter to the bonnet of the Jeep, says the Attorney General. The action of the army, according to him, saved many lives, not only that of polling officers and electronic voting machines and ITBP personnel, but also of the stone pelters. Let's quickly listen into the Attorney General, Mukul Rohatgi.
So you defended the fact, in fact argued the fact in the Supreme Court that the powers of the army and security forces under AFSPA should not be curtailed. How do you defend that position, especially in the light of recent developments that are seen?
Look, whether it's the Northeast or whether it is J&K, both are volatile frontiers, both have militants coming from across the border, and as I said earlier, they look the same as us. So it is not possible to make out that is a militant of a foreign race. Now, if you are in that situation, and these situations have been there for the last 25 years, 30 years, the security of the nation, the sovereignty of the nation, the security of the people, security of democracy is at stake. If these things are not controlled properly, then I'm sorry, we'll be in a soup. So the procedure we use, as I told you, is to first use a hailing service to disperse the crowd. Then you can use water cannons, you use rubber bullets, you use gas grenades, you use chili grenades, then you may have to use a pellet gun.
So very specifically talking about a human shield, that's clearly barred in international law and practices, even in conflict areas.
Now look, if you're talking about the specific case, several hundred people surrounded a polling booth. The polling booth must have had about 20 people inside. The Election Commission officials, J&K police and CRPF. Now if hundreds of people surround a booth, God knows what will happen to a booth, right? The booth or voting is a symbol of democracy. So an SOS was sent to the army. The army sent a major, I think, with some people. When he went there, he realized the level of the crowd was huge. On the spur of the moment, he thought that the best thing was to diffuse the situation by putting one of those people in the Jeep and drive. And since that happened, the pelting didn't happen. So at times, difficult situations, peculiar situations may require a peculiar reaction. And if the reaction didn't kind of kill anybody, so what is this big hullabaloo about?
So what is this big hullabaloo all about, asks the country's top law officer. I want to quickly bring in India Today's Anusha Soni for more on this big story. Anusha, it saved lives. Not a single bullet was fired. Controversial but effective. Is that now the government position, even as the army has initiated a fact-finding inquiry into this matter?
Clearly, Gaurav, I mean, as far as the top law officer of the centre is concerned, he has come out in full support of the army, and he has said that it was a tactical move, and as long as lives are not lost, that is something he clearly defends. This is also in line with what he has said in the Supreme Court in the case of the pellet guns. He said the same thing, that this is not a protest at Jantar Mantar happening. The army is dealing with very peculiar situations in conflict zones, and that is something that the court must also keep in mind. So clearly the centre has come out in full force, at least at the Supreme Court of India, when it comes to defending the security forces of the country.
Anusha Soni, for the moment, many thanks.